What's going on, guys? Jay the Black here. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I want to talk about Porsha Williams. She is a reality TV star from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She got into a marriage with a guy by the name of Simon, a Nigerian businessman, quote unquote, a man who left his ex to be with Porsha Williams. Right. There are people who believe that she may have been a side piece for a while before they went public with their relationship, but I don't really know. But what I will say is that they have concluded their divorce, and she was able to get a lot out of it. Now I'm going to go over some of those things real quick as we get into this particular story. Apparently, Porsha gets to stay in their home for 36 months while Simon is covering the mortgage, okay? Bills and costs. Simon is going to keep paying her lifestyle in the same house he used to share with her, right? So that means she could possibly, you got to understand, this guy's being deported, so he's not going to be able to enjoy that house. Of course, she's going to be bringing other men over there. Now, the house deed must be transferred into a mutual trust with both their names on it. So technically, they're still partners in property, but only until things get sorted. Now, a refinancing clause. Porsha can refinance the home under her own name in those 3 years. It gets sold. Porsha gets a generous slice of those proceeds because equity matters, I guess. A lump sum payment. As part of the settlement, Porsha gets a one-time payment. The exact number hasn't been put out there, but they're saying that it could be six figures. Spousal support. It turns out that Simon had been paying Porsha a generous monthly spousal support payment of $40,000 during their marriage and $30,000 when they were just dating, which is crazy. So it just seems like she's going to get, now again, they weren't even married that long. He's $40,000. Legal fees. It says Simon is paying for Porsha's attorney's bills. And that seems to be everything that I have listed here. This is why I tell y'all, man, marriage, make sure if you're marrying somebody, marry them because you want to be with them and that the marriage works. It's clear to me that this guy was a rich simp. He saw Porsha, and the moment he saw Porsha, because again, his wife and him were a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think that when he saw Porsha, he was determined to get into a relationship with her. But what he didn't understand, because listen, Porsha's nice to look at. Okay, so I could see why he was wanted that action, because Portia's nice to look at. Now Porsha may have other things about her that aren't so appealing, but the one thing that I'm not going to sit here and say is that she's not nice to look at, because I would be lying, right? And Simon knew that as well. That's why Simon left his marriage and went straight to Porsha. And what he didn't understand about Porsha likes nice things. Porsha likes to be financially taken care of. And I think he was okay with that at first, but then, problems started happening financially. And once problems start happening financially, you're going to lose that woman. You're going to lose Porsha. You're going to lose her. Porsha's not going to stay. And also the fact that now the whole getting deported, that happened after the relationship was over. But once money start becoming a problem, she's ready to get up out of there. She is not about to sit up there and ride and die for no man. She's about that money. She's about that bread. And she's going to date any man that's going to get that for her. Now, let's get into this particular article here from Essence. It appears the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member Porsha Williams is emerging victorious from her divorce from Simon. A judge ruled that the former couple's prenuptial agreement would be enforced, meaning that Williams will receive $40,000 per month in alimony for 15 months and have her legal fees paid. Additionally, the Real Housewives of Atlanta star gets to keep the Rolls Royce that he gifted her and has until 2027 to decide whether she wants to remain in the $7 million premarital home they shared during their union. The former couple has been at odds about enforcing the prenuptial agreement they signed before getting married for over a year now. That was a very favorable prenuptial agreement, I would say. That was, that's why she got with. That is why Porsha got with him. Porsha would have never got with him unless, like, if she was going to sign a prenup, that prenup was going to be beneficial to her. The businessman opposed the enforcement of the prenuptial agreement because Williams allegedly made misrepresentations during their negotiations. Of course she did, bro. This ain't her first rodeo. This ain't the first time she done been down this path. Williams failed to disclose that she would return to her employment on the Real Housewives of Atlanta as a cast member, the court documents read. Instead of disclosing this material fact, the wife made it very clear to Simon and the public that she was leaving the television show and not returning. Simon relied on the representations or misrepresentations Williams made to him during their engagement, the negotiation phase, and at the time that the party signed the prenuptial agreement. She played him, man. Porsha's not gonna leave no money on the table. She told you that just so you would give her that very favorable prenuptial agreement. And Simon, you fell for it because you are a rich simp. You're a simp with money, and you gave her a very favorable prenuptial agreement because she actually told you that she was going to quit. Bro, she has never quit that show. Williams announced she'd be leaving the Real Housewives of Atlanta in September 2021 after a 9-season run. However, in February 2024, she surprised fans by announcing her return for season 16 of the show, which aired in March of 2025. The announcement came around the same time the actress shocked fans with her divorce filing. She knew that she was going to get money regardless, so she kicked them to the curb just so she can be on that show again. Porsha don't like being no regular chick. She wants to be famous in the public eye, and also Bravo is giving her a nice bag, and she took it. And she, not only did she take that, she took him for a ride, because this dude actually believed that she was going to not want to be a part of that show anymore. This is what happens when you got money and you're a simp and you're trying everything that you can to get a woman to like you. You get tricked out of your money. Simon claimed that had he known that his former partner would return to the show, he wouldn't have agreed to the prenup that requires him to pay a substantial financial obligation to Williams, totaling over hundreds of thousands of dollars, in terms that require him to split equity of his $7 million premarital home with Williams and pay a significant debts and expenses for the wife's benefit. Oh my God. Oh, he got finessed. Like, this dude comes over here thinking that he's going to be dating these American women. Bro, these women like Porsha are a different breed. Porsha is a different breed of woman. And bro, you really played yourself thinking that you was going to leave this marriage unscathed financially. Yes, she always was going to go back to the show. She always was going to go back. However, Porsha argued that she needed to return to work to offset the numerous financial obligations that Simon has failed to maintain under the temporary order, as well as to offset the significant legal expense Williams has already incurred in pursuing enforcement of the parties' prenuptial agreement and defending herself against Simon as it relates to the instant divorce action. The court hearing took place via video. Simon was recently deported to Nigeria after being detained by ICE in February. The recent hearing marks the end of a whirlwind romance that began in early 2021 when Porsha reached out to console Simon during his divorce from Phelan Pena, a former Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member. Y'all see that former, right? Former. So she was done on the show. The former couple got engaged just a few months after meeting and had a lavish 2-part wedding in November of 2022. After 15 months of marriage and ongoing public feuds, it looks like the two can finally move on in peace. Well, I will say this. Porsha played her role in getting Simon's money. Not only did she get Simon's money, she also got the house, because again, he's been deported. He can't live there. So she gets paid by him every month. She gets the house. He pays all of her legal fees and debts, and she gets to start over. Now, she's still a single mother, but she gets to start over. And Simon, I think Simon even accused her of cheating on him, which is, and again, like, a woman like Porsha, again, I told y'all, she's nice to look at, but at the same time, she can be very deadly to a man's money, because she if you want to say she's a gold digger, she would probably tell you herself that she's one, and you should know that before you try to get with her. And maybe Simon thought that because he's Nigerian, and maybe he thinks that he's different than American men and he'd treat her better. Bro, she's looking at them pockets, could care less about where you're from. That's why these foreign men, y'all think y'all can handle these women over here? You're gonna have the same problems that we have. And Simon found it out. Now Simon is without this woman. She's moved on. She's gonna live off of his money. She's gonna live in that house that he paid for, and he can't even come over here because he was deported right back to Nigeria, which is very interesting. The biggest loser in this whole situation is Simon, because he really thought that after the breakup with his wife that he could just, slide again, even though, again, his marriage, didn't work. He ended up getting with Porsha because he always wanted to be a Porsha brother when the first time he saw her. I don't buy this. They meet each other and then a few months later, it's like, come on, man. He was always trying to make a play, and Porsha made a play as well. Porsha made a very big play to get his money, and she played him like a sucker. So let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Let me know that video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, X, Instagram. Check out all the other videos on the channel, and I'll see y'all next one.